The first thing that hit me wasn't the betrayal, it was the smell. 3 days into my solo fishing trip upstate, the trout in my cooler had started rotting. That's why I came home early. Not fate, not intuition. Spoiled fish. I just parked my truck behind the old oak tree, the one Sharon kept begging me to cut down because it ruined the curb appeal, when I heard her laugh. Not her book club cackle or her bridge night giggle. The one she used to reserve for dive bars and motel rooms back when we were 23. My gut clenched before my brain caught up. I crept around the side of the house, boots sinking into mulch she'd never let me neglect. There they were, Sharon straddling some silver-haired prick on our teak patio lounger, her sundress hiked up to her hips. His Rolex glinted in the sunlight as he palmed her ass. But here's what made me pull out my phone instead of my shotgun she was feeding him. A strawberry from our garden, dipped in the artisanal chocolate I'd special ordered for our anniversary. Careful, she purred. This one's bittersweet. The man, late 50s, tailored suit, reeked of cologne and entitlement. Bit down. Worth every penny, he said, juice dripping down his chin. That's when Sharon dropped the line that turned my rage into a math problem. Don't worry, she laughed, adjusting his tie with her sticky fingers. The final payment's coming. My husband's been generous lately. She pronounced husband like a punchline. The guy smirked, thumbing her lip. Better hope he doesn't go full Cape Fear on us. My thumb hovered over the video button. For half a heartbeat, I wanted to charge and swinging the steel fishing gaff still in my truck bed. But then I remembered Sharon's father taught her to shoot before she could ride a bike, and the .38 special in her nightstand. So I hit record, filmed them for 73 seconds, long enough to capture her handing him a manila envelope from her woven yoga bag, since when did downward dog require notarized documents? Long enough to notice his shoes, custom Italian loafers, same make as the prints I'd found last month near our broken basement window, the one she'd blamed on raccoons. Here's where most guys would have screwed up, confronted her, tipped their hand, let emotion wreck the game. Me? I backtracked to my truck, knees popping like firecrackers. Drove to the 24-hour hardware store and bought a 5-gallon bucket of roof sealant. Left the receipt on the passenger seat where she'd accidentally find it later. When I walked in smelling like tar and dead fish, Sharon was scrubbing strawberry stains off her hands. You're home early, she said, voice tighter than a snare drum. Storm's coming, I lied, watching her pupils dilate. Need to patch the roof. She laughed, that tinkling windshield sound that used to make me smile. Always working, Ray. You should relax. I held up the bucket. Sealant needs 48 hours to cure. Better safe than sorry. Her smile didn't slip. Not when I kissed her sticky sweet cheek. Not when I mentioned finding raccoon tracks near the AC unit. But I felt it, the micro-shiver as my lips brushed her skin. The way her eyes darted to the hallway closet where she kept her go-bag. Upstairs, I scrubbed trout guts from under my nails and replayed the video. Zoomed in on the envelope's corner visible in her yoga bag. Spotted a partial logo, 2 pine trees over the letters LLC. Googled it at 3 a.m. while Sharon snored beside me. Found nothing. But when I cross-referenced the logo with our property tax portal, there it was, Lakeview Luxury Cabins LLC. Purchased last month by someone named Linda Harper, Sharon's stepsister. The woman who'd borrowed $15,000 from our savings after her nonprofit lost funding. The same bitch who'd sent us a fruit basket last Tuesday with a note. Can't wait for our new adventure. I sat there in the dark, listening to my wife of 28 years breathe, and did something I hadn't done since I planned. Not a divorce. Not a fight. A demolition. Because here's the thing about construction. To bring down a house, you don't swing a sledgehammer. You find the load-bearing walls. And then you let gravity do the rest. The paper cuts came first, 3 on my left thumb, deep enough to sting. I'd been sitting cross-legged in the attic for hours, sweating through my undershirt, surrounded by 12 years of financial records Sharon had organized in laundry baskets. She'd mocked my filing system for decades. Turns out I should have taken notes. The first withdrawal popped up in January's statement. $8, 500 labeled charity donation in Sharon's loopy cursive. I almost laughed. My wife once corrected a waiter's pronunciation of crudité, but I kept digging. February, $9,200. March, $12,000 even. All marked charity. All withdrawn in cashier's checks. The pattern held until June's statement, where I found the anomaly, a $1.75 charge at a Chevron off I-95. Dated the same day Sharon claimed she was volunteering at the animal shelter. The receipt timestamp? 2:17 a.m. I pocketed it like a love letter. Downstairs, Sharon was marinating chicken in our spotless kitchen, humming along to a true crime podcast about a husband who vanished. Her knife hovered over the cutting board as I entered. "Find what you needed in the attic?" she asked, julienning a red pepper with surgical precision. "Roof warranty paperwork." I held up a grease-stained folder. "Turns out we're 6 months past the coverage period." Her blade stilled. "That's a shame." "Yeah, could have sworn I renewed it." I leaned against the fridge, watching her reflection in the microwave door. "Say, when's the last time we reviewed our charitable contributions?" The knife slipped. A pepper chunk hit the floor. "Why? Tax season's coming. Thought we might increase our donations." She recovered fast, bending to retrieve the pepper. The neckline of her blouse gaped. "No lacy black bra today. Just practical beige cotton." "We give plenty," she said, voice muffled. I pulled June's statement from my back pocket, creased it around the Chevron receipt. "These monthly withdrawals to Linda's nonprofit. Helping Hands, right?" Sharon straightened slowly, knife glinting. "You went through the checkbook. Safety deposit box, key fell out of your yoga bag." I shrugged. Had to move some files around. Her cheeks flushed that pretty peach shade I'd once loved. "If you're accusing me of..." "Accusing?" I barked a laugh. "Baby, I'm proud. Never took you for a bleeding heart." I tapped the $12,000 entry. "This is more than we spent on our honeymoon." She deflated, shoulders softening. "Linda's expanding the food bank. It's temporary. Should have told me." I stepped closer, smelling her jasmine perfume. We could have skipped the new patio furniture. Her eyelashes fluttered, a tic she'd had since our first date at the county fair. "You're not angry?" "Angry." I cupped her face, thumb brushing the wrinkles she'd started Botoxing last year. "When have I ever denied you anything?" The lie tasted like copper. Later, while Sharon showered, I cross-referenced the withdrawal dates with my fishing calendar. Every payment aligned with a trip she'd insisted I take. March's $12,000? Withdrawn the day before I left for Lake Champlain. The timing wasn't just suspicious, it was rhythmic. But the real kicker came at 3 a.m. I'd returned to the attic, armed with a UV flashlight from my old safety inspection kit. The charity checks glowed under the beam. Sharon's signature crisp and blue, the endorsements on the back fluorescing orange. All signed by Linda Harper. Except June's. That one bore 2 thumbprints in pink highlighter ink, smudged like someone had tried to wipe them. I snapped photos, then noticed the memo line, visible only under UV light. Final installment, LHC, LLC. The lake house. I nearly tripped over Sharon's Nordic track descending the attic stairs. She stood in the hallway clutching a water glass, hair damp from her shower. "Can't sleep?" she asked, too casual. "Roof's creaking." I held up the UV light, checking for termites. Her gaze dropped to my stained undershirt. "Find any? Just old wood." I brushed past her, breathing in the scent of her $75 moisturizer. "But I'll keep looking." The next morning, I transferred $20,000 from our savings to checking. Left the transaction slip face up on the kitchen island. Sharon found it with her morning matcha. "Ray," her voice wavered. "What's this?" "Top up for Linda." I didn't look up from my eggs. "Interest rates are climbing. Might as well help while we can." Her spoon clattered against the mug. "That's generous. We're a team, right?" I forked a bite of runny yolk, meeting her stare. "Besides, you've always had a better eye for investments." Her smile looked like a death rattle. I spent the afternoon pressure washing the driveway, humming along to the grind of stripping away grime. Every pass revealed more cracks in the concrete, just like our marriage. That night, Sharon accidentally spilled Merlot on my laptop. I let her blot it with tissues, both of us pretending not to notice she'd bypassed the power button. "Clumsy me," she simpered. "Happens to the best of us." I opened the ruined device, plucked out the SSD. Good thing I back everything up. Her manicured fingers trembled around the wine glass. I waited until her breathing deepened in sleep, then slid the SSD into a Faraday bag and buried it in the compost bin, right under the coffee grounds and eggshells. Let her try to find it there. The stench of burnt popcorn hit me before I even opened the door to Helping Hands International. The office was squeezed between a payday loan shop and a vape store, its flickering neon sign missing the H and the S. A kid who looked like he'd been breastfed on Red Bull slouched behind the front desk, picking at his acne while watching TikTok dances. I slid a C note across the particle board counter. I need to see your 990 tax forms. He didn't blink. We're a private foundation. I added another Franklin. And I'm the Pope's bastard cousin. The kid pocketed the cash and led me to a storage closet reeking of mold and regret. File boxes stacked like Jenga blocks. Knock yourself out, he said, nodding at a 2008 Dell desktop crusted with soda residue. I found the smoking gun in 7 minutes flat, not in the tax filings, but in the screensaver. Photos of Linda water skiing at Lake Norman, her arm around the same silver-haired suit from my backyard. The timestamp? Last Thursday, when Sharon told me she was attending Linda's board retreat. The real gold was in the QuickBooks file labeled Puppy Rescue. $287,000 in expenses categorized as construction materials, paid to a company called LHC Contracting. Same initials as the LLC on Sharon's envelope. I was screenshotting invoices when the back door slammed. Told you the marble's non-negotiable. Linda's voice carried the syrupy menace of a rattlesnake in heels. Raymond's wife wants Carrara in the master bath. I killed the monitor and pressed against the closet door, breath shallow. Through the crack, I watched Linda strut into the main office wearing a white pantsuit that cost more than the building's monthly rent. Her contractor, a muscle-bound 30-something with tattooed knuckles, trailed behind her. Marble's a bitch to install, he said, leaning on her desk. Gonna need another 10 grand. Linda laughed, plucking lint off his shirt. Don't play hardball with me, Mikey. Not after what I saw in your truck last week. Her finger traced his collarbone. Wouldn't want your wife finding those receipts. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Sharon's ringtone. I let it go to voicemail, angling the camera through the door gap. Fine, Mikey grumbled. But the fireplace stone comes from my supplier. Darling. Linda pulled a key from her cleavage. Use whatever rocks you want. Just make sure the safe room's finished before. The Dell chose that moment to blare an alert, low battery. Linda's head snapped toward the closet. Who's in there? I grabbed the first box within reach and stepped out, channeling my best confused senior act. Ma'am? They told me the tax receipts were in here, but all I'm finding is, I peered at the box label. Operation Kitten Mittens 2017. Linda's Botox held firm, but her neck tendons writhed like eels. Mr. Coleman. What a surprise. Small world. I hefted the box onto Mikey's chest. Sharon mentioned you were doing God's work here. Had no idea it involved. I gestured at the stain drop ceiling. Architectural salvage. Mikey edged toward the exit. Linda blocked him, heels digging into the nicotine-stained carpet. We're renovating a shelter. Mike's our general contractor. Is that right? I tapped the box. Says here you spent $14,000 on kennel deodorizer last quarter. That's one fancy air freshener. Her smile turned arctic. Philanthropy has costs. Tell me about it. I pulled the Chevron receipt from my wallet, the one dated 2:17 a.m. Found this in Sharon's car. Thought you might need it for mileage deductions. Linda's eyelid twitched. She recognized the gas station, same one near the lake house. How thrifty of you. Funny thing. I leaned in, smelling her overpriced perfume. The security cam at that Chevron catches everyone buying Slim Jims and condoms after midnight. I paused. But not you. Mikey dropped the box. Linda's manicure dug into his bicep. We're late for a site inspection. I watched them peel out in Mikey's F-250, memorizing the license plate. Back in the closet, I found what Linda had really been hiding. Blueprints for a 4,500 square feet lake home with a panic room and boat dock. Buried in the specs, a geothermal HVAC system matching the $48,000 withdrawal Sharon made last April. But the real kicker? The client's signature on page 17, Sharon's unmistakable loops and dashes. Dated 6 days after our anniversary. The night she'd worn the black lace negligee and cried about being childless. I took photos until my phone died. Then I did something petty, swapped the labels on Linda's boxes. Let her spend a week looking for puppy rescue between Save the Manatees and Orphan Smiles. Driving home, I passed a roadside stand selling hunting gear. Bought a deer cam with night vision and a 128 gigabytes memory card. Let them document their own destruction. The storage unit smelled like my mother's funeral roses, that cloying, expensive rot. I tailed Sharon's Lexus to the secure stop facility using the deer cam's live feed, parking behind a U-Haul truck reeking of cat piss. Watched her punch a code into the gate, 12-34-56, because subtlety was for poor people. She didn't notice the AirTag I'd epoxied inside her left tailpipe that morning, camouflaged with road grime and 3 decades of marital neglect. Unit 417's roll-up door screeched like a banshee. Inside, our missing Ethan Allen dining set. The Chippendale armchair I'd inherited from Gran. And stacked against the back wall, 6 crates of Italian marble tile labeled LHC Delivery Number 4. Sharon ran a hand over the stone, whispering to herself. I caught 2 words through my binoculars, his office. Then my phone buzzed, a calendar alert Sharon had set, dermatologist appointment. Her code for Botox touch-ups. Except the reminder was for 2 p.m. She was here at 10:23 a.m. I waited until her Lexus disappeared around the bend. Slipped into Unit 417 using the gate code she'd used every 3rd Tuesday for months. The marble wasn't the headline. It was the shipping manifest taped to a crate, destination address blacked out with Sharpie, but the weight clear as day, 2,300 pounds. Enough stone for a master bath. Or a mausoleum. Under a tarp, I found Sharon's stolen jewelry box. Empty except for my grandfather's pocket watch, the one she'd sworn was lost during the remodel. Its engraving glared at me, to Ray, who always has time. I wounded deliberately, feeling the gears resist. That's when I saw the fireproof safe, bolted to the floor. Keypad entry. I pressed my ear against the cold metal, turned the dial. Heard the faint click of a solenoid. 5 digits. I tried Sharon's birthday. Our anniversary. The combination to her college locker. The 3rd attempt, Linda's birth year, unsealed it with a hiss. Inside, a stack of deeds thicker than my old union contract. Property transfers from our joint account to Lakeview Holdings, LLC. Photographs of Sharon and silver-haired suit touring half-built McMansions. And at the bottom, wrapped in silk, a positive pregnancy test from 1994. The one she'd told me was a false alarm. The one that had sent me building a nursery we'd never use. I vomited into an empty crate, wiped my mouth with the silk, then rearranged everything exactly as I'd found it, down to the dust patterns. That night, Sharon served coq au vin with a side of arsenic sweetness. Ray, honey, have you thought about downsizing? She gestured to our vaulted ceilings. This place is so empty now. I speared a mushroom. Thought you loved the open concept. It's practical, she said, too quickly. We could travel. Maybe buy a condo near the water. Like Linda's place? Her fork screeched against the plate. What? At Lake Norman. You mentioned she's there often. I sipped Merlot, watching her throat constrict. A condo sounds smart. Good investment. Sharon's smile flickered. You're open to selling? Darling, I'd live in a tent if it made you happy. I reached across the table, squeezed her freezing hand. Let's list it Monday. She excused herself to update the realtor. I stayed, swirling my wine, listening to her muffled phone call through the floor vents. He agreed faster than expected. Yes, liquid assets. The watch? Still there. No, he didn't ask about static, safe room specs before. I texted Mikey's license plate number to my PI. Attached a photo of the marble manifest. Added a caption, track deliveries from LHC Contracting. Triple rate if you ID the architect. His reply came as Sharon's laughter floated downstairs, sharp and victorious. You sure you want to know? I stared at the pocket watch in my palm, its ticking syncopated with Sharon's pacing overhead. Burn it all. The lake house stank of wet concrete and greed. I'd followed Sharon's Lexus through back roads so rural even the meth labs had for sale signs. Parked my truck behind a logging pile, moss squelching under my boots as I crept toward the skeletal structure. Through gaping stud walls, I watched Linda kick a stack of marble tiles. her stiletto cracking the Calicut gold vein I'd paid $200 per SQ feet for. Told you to front the cash. Linda's snarl carried across the lake. You think permits grow on trees? Sharon paced the subfloor in designer wellies, clutching her Birkin like a riot shield. Raymond agreed to sell the house. We'll have the money by never. Linda chucked a roofing nail at her. It pinged off the Sub-Zero fridge box. Your simp husband's dumber than a bag of hammers. But even he'll notice when your charity sucks his equity dry. I crouched behind the propane tank, filming through a knothole. The deer cam strapped to a pine tree captured Linda's best angles. Every Botox spasm, every vein pulsing in her spray-tan neck. Sharon unzipped her purse. The glint of my grandmother's sapphire brooch made my molars grind. Take this. Pawn it in Charlotte. Linda snorted. You're dead MIL's junk? Please. I need liquid. Then wait 2 weeks. Or what? Linda stepped into Sharon's space, their reflections warped in the unfinished stainless range hood. I'll tell Ray how you screwed his VA buddy back in '09. How the miscarriage was really a... Sharon slapped her. The crack echoed off the metal roof. I stopped breathing. Linda touched her cheek, then laughed, a sound like ice snapping underfoot. Oh, sweetie, you think that's my leverage? She pulled out her phone, tapped twice. A man's voice boomed through the speakers, my voice. Burn it all. My text to the PI. Sharon staggered back. When did you? Hacked your iCloud after the storage unit stunt. Linda pocketed the phone. Your Boy Scouts playing Demolition Derby. Transfer $250,000 by Friday, or I send him the security footage from Unit 417. I froze. They had video? Sharon's laugh sliced the humidity. You're bluffing. The only camera there is. The pocket watch. Linda smirked. Cute trick, Ray. My hand flew to my jacket pocket, empty. She turned toward my hiding spot. Grand's little heirloom had a GPS chip. Been tracking you since the storage unit. Sharon whirled. He's here. I lunged left as Linda shouted. Check the propane. Footsteps pounded. I belly crawled under the deck, spiders raining into my collar. Sharon's boots appeared inches from my face. Raymond. Her voice wavered. Honey, if you're... A raccoon chose that moment to bolt from the brush. Linda cursed. Sharon fired 3 wild shots from her .38, shattering a garage window. Enough. Linda grabbed her arm. Transfer the money, or I'll bury you both under this fucking marble. They left in separate cars, tires spitting gravel. I waited until sunset, then emerged to find my pocket watch impaled on a rebar spike. The increment glared up at me. To Ray, who always has time. I pried open the casing, found the GPS chip and a backup microSD card. The files made bile rise in my throat. Time-stamped videos of Sharon meeting silver-haired suit at the lake house. Bank drafts. Blueprints for the safe room, with a hidden compartment sized for a body. But Linda's final gift? A spreadsheet titled Phase 3. Life insurance payouts. Accidental death clauses. My name in red. I texted my PI. Accelerate Phase 2. Burn permit approved. Then I drove to the quarry, Linda's SD card taped to a brick. Watched it sink into the acid pit. Time wasn't on my side anymore. But fire? Fire, I understood. The PI's office smelled like stale cigars and regret. Marty, the badger, Kowalski slid a manila folder across his desk, stained with what I hoped was coffee. Your wife's boy toy? He tapped a surveillance photo of silver-haired suit leaving a Motel 6. Gregory Voss. Part-time contractor, full-time gigolo. I flipped through the shots. Greg pumping gas, Greg buying condoms, Greg handing Linda a thumb drive in a Cracker Barrel parking lot. How much? $5,000 a month. Marty grinned, revealing a gold molar. Paid via Linda's nonprofit. Your wife's just his client. The kicker? Page 12, a screenshot of Greg's OnlyFans account. At Marriott Lothario 69. Top video, business trip roleplay, CEO/secretary. I threw back my bourbon. Christ. Sharon paid for this. Marty shrugged. Dude's got 6 subscribers. 2 are burner accounts. The revelation should have relieved me. Instead, it burned like acid. All those nights I'd imagined her whispering another man's name? She'd been directing bad porn. I paid Marty in cash from Sharon's emergency fund. Burn the rest. Already did. He lit a cigar with Greg's headshot. But you've got bigger rats. Linda's been siphoning funds through 4 shell companies. Got a taste when she found Sharon's little hobby. He handed me the cherry, a wire transfer from Linda to a Cayman Islands account. $1.2 million. Dated 2 days after Sharon's first charity withdrawal. The game was clear, Linda monetizing Sharon's shame. That night, I forged perfection. Used the same QuickBooks template Linda had on her malware-ridden Dell. Created a dummy transaction showing a $750,000 deposit into our savings, interest from a forgotten CD. Left the printout in Sharon's yoga bag, coffee-stained and folded inside her 50 Shades paperback. She bid at 2:47 a.m. Heard her muffled squeal through the vent as I pretended to snore. Watched the closet light flick on via the nanny cam I'd installed in her shoe rack. Morning brought performance art. Sharon humming through breakfast, hips swaying as she scrambled eggs. "Honey," she purred, "did you check the savings account?" I choked down burnt toast. "Why?" "There's extra funds." She poured OJ with steady hands. "Must be that CD maturing." I blinked. "The one from 2006? Compound interest, right?" Her laugh tinkled. "We should celebrate. Maybe a cruise. Or investments." I dumped my plate in the sink. "Talk to Linda. She's got the Midas touch." Sharon's spoon clattered. "Wire. Seems smart." I grabbed my keys. "Gotta meet the roofers. Storm's coming." I drove to the lake house instead. Found Greg's pickup parked by the dock, tailgate down. Inside, receipts for Viagra and moving blankets. But under the passenger seat, a notepad with coordinates and the word payload. The PI's burner phone buzzed as I traced the numbers. They led to our storage unit. I arrived as Greg was loading marble tiles into a U-Haul. Watched him scratch his ass through cheap khakis before dialing Linda. "Yeah, got the last of it." "No, she didn't check the safe." I stepped into the halogen lights. "Need help?" Greg froze. "Mr. C, I was just stealing my wife's stolen goods." I tossed him a pair of work gloves. "At least protect your hands. Carrara edges will slice you to the bone." He stared like I'd sprouted horns. "Look, man, I just drive the truck. And fuck my wife." I leaned against his tailgate. "For $5,000 a month. Know what Linda charges her?" His Adam's apple bobbed. 10. I barked a laugh. "She's skimming your cut." Classic Linda. Pulled out the Cayman Islands transfer copy. "But this is grand larceny." Greg palmed the paper. "That bitch. Marty says you've got 2 kids in community college." I grabbed a tile, ran my thumb along its veined surface. "Help me bury her, and I'll triple Linda's rate." He hesitated. "What's the catch?" I smashed the tile at his feet. Shards sprayed as Jordan's. "You vanish tonight. Changer of handle." And if Sharon calls, I pressed a burner phone into his hand. "You're her grieving cousin. From Pensacola." Drove home to find Sharon burning sage in our bedroom. "Negative energy," she explained, waving smoke at the nanny cam. I kissed her temple, tasting deceit. "Smells like victory." She flinched. The next morning, $250,000 vanished from our account. Right into Linda's fake charity. Marty's text buzzed as I watched the transfer clear. "Bait taken. Net's ready." I poured Sharon's organic orange juice down the disposal. Rot, after all, has its uses. The nitro pills tasted like chalk and regret. I bought them off a retired nurse at the VFW, trading a case of Coors Light for the bottle and a crash course in cardiac theatrics. When Sharon's phone chimed with the $250,000 withdrawal alert, I timed my collapse to the millisecond, right as her Louboutins clicked past the thermostat she'd rigged to spy on me. "Ray." Her scream held just the right pitch of horror. Genuine enough for the neighbors, calculated enough for the Oscars. I writhed on the Persian rug we bought in Dubai, fingers clawing at my shirt. Let her see the sweat I'd applied with a drugstore sponge, meticulous streaks down my neck, artful armpit stains. She dropped to her knees, fumbling with my meds. The bottle rattled. "I'd swapped the nitroglycerin for breath mints weeks ago. Don't you die on me." Her slap stung. "Not before signing the life insurance update." Through slitted eyes, I watched her dial 911 with one hand, text Linda with the other, code red. Transfer failed. Paramedics arrived in 6 minutes flat. One had prison tats peeking under his collar. The other, a baby-faced kid, kept glancing at Sharon's cleavage as she sobbed. Prison tap pressed the EKG pads to my chest. I activated the muscle stimulator taped under my left pec, bought from a Russian eBay seller. The monitor flatlined. Shit. VFib. Prison tap reached for the defibrillator. Sharon's phone buzzed on the counter. Linda's response, fix it or we burn. The paddles hit my chest. I arched like a bad porno star, biting the capsule of fake blood hidden in my cheek. Crimson drooled down my chin. The monitor beeped rhythmically. Babyface exhaled. Stable. For now. At the hospital, Sharon played distraught wife, clutching my hand while covertly checking her stock portfolio. I drifted in phomorphine bliss until her nails dug into my palm. Mr. Coleman? A doctor entered, squinting at my chart. Your enzyme levels are curious. Sharon stiffened. Perfectly normal for stress-induced ischemia, I rasped, winking at the nurse, Marty's cousin twice removed. Isn't that right, Doc? He hesitated, then nodded. Rest is critical. Sharon excused herself to get air. I limped to the bathroom, peeled off the EKG sensors. Behind the mirror, the stimulator's LED still glowed red. I flushed it, watching the evidence swirl away. Her scream echoed from the parking lot. By the time I shuffled outside, she was slapping Linda's Benz hood. You said the accounts were liquid. Linda leaned out the window, sunglasses hiding her blackmailer's gaze. Your hubby's smarter than he looks. He's a glorified handyman. I coughed pointedly. They froze. Ladies. I adjusted my gown, flashing the assless back. Discussing my obituary? Sharon's mask slipped, pure, primal terror. Not for me. For herself. Linda peeled out. Sharon turned, tears glistening. You scared me. I cupped her cheek, smearing the blood capsule residue. Wouldn't dream of leaving you, sweetheart. Her shudder told me everything. That night, recovering on the couch, I watched Sharon shred documents in the garage. The security feed showed her burning something in our fire pit, scraps of a notepad with offshore account numbers. Marty texted. Freeze worked. Funds stuck in escrow. I smiled, popping a nitro tournament. Let them choke on the ashes. The life insurance papers smelled like vanilla and hubris, Sharon's signature scent. She'd brought them to my recovery bed on a silver tray alongside bone broth and oxycodone. The lawyer said we should update everything, just in case. Her lip quivered. Academy Award shit. I coughed into a handkerchief pre-stained with chicken blood. Policy's old. From my rigging days. Let her think it was some $50,000 junk plan. Beneficiaries are still. Another cough, rattling the pill bottles on my nightstand. Sharon pounced. Let me handle it, baby. You rest. I watched her scribble Linda's name with my Mont Blanc, the pen I'd loaded with disappearing ink. The real documents? Signed weeks ago in Marty's office, naming my Vietnam buddy's feral cat colony as beneficiaries. Mr. Whiskers would make a killing. All set. Sharon kissed my forehead, leaving burgundy lipstick on the bandages. Just a formality. The second her Lexus peeled out for errands, I swapped the docs, slipped the forgery into our safe behind the family Bible, left the real ones taped under the litter box, where Linda's OCD would never let her look. That night, Sharon FaceTimed Linda from the walk-in closet. I watched the feed via the nanny cam hidden in her shoe organizer. Beneficiary forms are done, Sharon whispered, clutching a vodka tonic. But Ray's recovery is messing up the timeline. Linda's snarl crackled through the speakers. You're losing your nerve. Again. He's weaker. Maybe we wait. No. We stick to the script. A lighter flicked. Accidents happen during relapses. Sharon drained her glass. I'm not a monster, Lynn. Could have fooled me. Linda blew smoke. Remember the ectopic pregnancy? How you blamed Ray's bad genes. Sharon hurled her phone. It bounced off a Birkin bag, landing Lynn's up to capture her silent scream. I muted the feed and shuffled to the garage. Pulled the tarp off my vintage Corvette, the one Sharon thought I'd sold for her spa weekends. In the glove box, next to my .45, sat Linda's burner phone logs. 3 calls to a number registered to Greenville Crematorium. 2 words in the texts, rush job. I revved the engine once. Let the growl shake the walls. Sharon came running, vodka sloshing down her robe. Ray, you shouldn't be. Felt alive for the first time in weeks. I patted the passenger seat. Take me for a spin? She paled. It's midnight. Live a little. I tossed her the keys. You drive. Her knuckles whitened around the wheel. Every curve, every stop sign. I saw her calculating. Swerve into a pole, claim brake failure. I hummed Highway to Hell, watching her eye the embankment. At the overlook, she parked. Moonlight carved shadows into her Botoxed panic. We should head back. I gripped her thigh. Remember our first date? You drove me to that quarry. Her breath hitched. You tried to feel me up, and you threatened to shove me into the crusher. I squeezed harder. Still the sexiest thing you've ever said. The dash cam blinked red. She never checked the glove box. By dawn, Linda had texted 17 times. Sharon's reply, screenshotted to my burner, was a masterpiece. He's onto us. Need to move faster. I ate pancakes with extra syrup, savoring the way the fake insurance papers warped in the safe's humidity. Let them rush. Collapse was always a game of momentum. The safety deposit key glinted under the clinic's fluorescent lights. An unassuming brass tooth I dropped, while Sharon pretended to nap during my physical. She pocketed it with surgical precision, mistaking my reflection in the blood pressure cuff for oblivion. Let her think she'd plucked it from my slack grip. Let her taste the thrill. They hit the bank at 9:02 a.m. Through the lobby camera feed Marty had hacked, I watched Linda's leopard print heels tap out Morse code for panic. The clerk handed them box 221, the one I'd stocked with notarized forgeries so pristine even the county auditor would have wept. Sharon's scream when she saw the lake house deed in my name shattered the bank's muzak. Impossible. Linda stabbed the paper. We buried the title transfers. Sharon's whisper carried through the mic I'd embedded in the safety deposit box lining. Raymond's been to the county office. He knows. By noon, they cornered me resting in my workshop. Linda reeked of gin and desperation. Sharon clutched the forged deed like a suicide note. Care to explain? She slammed the paper onto my workbench, rattling jars of deck screws. I squinted through reading glasses I didn't need. Lakeview luxury cabins? Sounds swanky. Linda's claw snatched my collar. Stop playing senile. How'd you get your name on the deed? I coughed. A wet, consumptive hack perfected over weeks. Must have signed something during chemo. Let them remember the cancer scare I'd faked last fall with expired MRI scans. Sharon recoiled. You said that was a false positive. Doctors. I shrugged. What do they know? Linda brandished the key. Where's the real deed? Looks like my gym locker key. I rummaged through a coffee can of nails. Here's its twin. Held up an identical key labeled Storage Unit 417. Their synchronized flinch was poetry. Sharon recovered first. This isn't funny, Ray. Our finances. Are your department, sweetheart. I dropped the key into her palm, folding her fingers over it. Always said you'd make a killer CFO. Linda lunged, but Sharon held her back. We're not done, she hissed. Course not. I powered up the table saw. Mind the dust, new filters acting up. They left arguing over whether to torch the lake house or my medication. I let the blade whine for 3 full minutes before shutting it off. Beneath the sawdust, the workshop floorboard creaked. Inside, the real deed, signed in Linda's handprint blood ink. A trick from my PI's forensics buddy. That night, Sharon accidentally burned dinner. I ate every charred bite, praising her culinary courage. Watched her eyes dart to the landline where Linda's threats buzzed like trapped wasps. You're taking this well, she ventured. I licked barbecue ash from my thumb. Funny thing about deeds, they're just paper. Her fork bent. In the garage, I unearthed the GPS tracker from her Lexus. Planted it inside Linda's mailbox alongside a thumb drive of Greg's greatest hits. Let them hunt ghosts. Marty's midnight text sealed the game. Deed filed. Lean active. Lake Housier's at dawn. I poured 2 fingers of Sharon's hidden cognac, toasted the nanny cam. Let them choke on the paperwork. The hitman smelled like cheap cologne and cheaper decisions. I'd known he was coming. Marty's contact at the gun range had texted a photo of Linda handing cash to a guy with teardrop tattoos and a limp. Recognized the limp. Recognized the tattoos from the paramedic who'd saved me during the heart attack charade. Poetry. I let him pick the lock. Watched through the garage cam as he tripped the laser grid I'd rigged to the antique shotgun over the mantel. The blast took out Grandma's urn and his left kneecap. Police found him howling on our lawn, clutching Sharon's monogram towel soaked in his blood. Linda fled in a Uber XL, but not before leaving her mark, a lipstick-smeared note on my windshield. You win. For now. The real message was in the glove box, a thumb drive taped under the owner's manual. Footage of Sharon and Greg rehearsing their affair in a Marriott bathroom, complete with stage directions. Sharon cracked like a fault line, burst into my workshop at 3 a.m., mascara rivers cutting through her spray tan. She's gone, she hiccuped, clutching my flannel. Linda's framing me for everything. I let her snot stain my shirt. Start from the beginning. Her confession was a masterpiece. Half-truths swirled with self-pity. Yes, she'd funneled money. Yes, Linda blackmailed her. But the affair? Just Greg playing pretend. The hitman? Linda's sick idea. Not a word about the lake house. Not a whisper of the safe room. I stroked her hair, thumb brushing the Bluetooth ring, recording every syllable to Marty's cloud. We'll fix this, I murmured, tasting her lies. Together. She stiffened. How? I pulled the ultimate marital Hail Mary, the photo of her holding my stillborn son, the one she'd sworn the hospital lost. By remembering who we are. Her scream shook the rafters. Where did you? Storage unit. I tucked the photo into her robe, along with the ectopic pregnancy report. The real one. She collapsed. I let her sob at my feet, the ring's mic capturing every guttural truth. When she passed out from exhaustion, I pried her phone from her clutch. Found the encrypted text to Linda. Call OFF the dogs, or I'll expose the safe. Forwarded them to the DA. Dawn brought a certified letter, Linda's lawyer offering a plea deal. I burned it in the fire pit, inhaling the ashes. Sharon stirred at noon, found me scrubbing blood from the driveway. Ray. She hovered, barefoot and brittle. Did you mean it? About fixing this. I hosed the last pink swirl down the drain. Always do. Her hand brushed my back. The Bluetooth ring warmed against her palm. She didn't notice. But Linda would. Marty's update buzzed as Sharon made coffee, recording uploaded. Chain of custody intact. I sipped her apology latte, bitter and oversweetened. The noose was woven. Now to let them dance. The airport's PA system crackled with static, but Linda's shriek cut through clean as a scalpel. You sanctimonious cunt. Her carry-on spilled Gucci scarves and Xanax across the TSA line. I watched from the Hertz lot through binoculars, sipping Dunkin's sludge as her tirade went nuclear. You think crying to Raymond saves you? I'll mail him your diaphragm from Juarez. Sharon's whisper vibrated through the AirPod I'd hidden in her luggage. Please, I'll give you the safe combination. Too late, princess. Linda's slap echoed. Enjoy prison cuisine. I texted the pre-written tip to Homeland Security. Attached Linda's boarding pass and a photo of her scarf, the same one tied around Greg's eyes in video number 7. Let them find the microSD card sewn into the hem, loaded with offshore account details and a little surprise. Sharon's forged signature on a wire transfer dated 9/11. Panic rippled through the terminal. K. 9 units circled. Sharon bolted for the exit in tear-soaked Chanel, dialing my burner. She's gone mad. We need to leave now. I met her at the bus station, duffel bag packed with her own go-bag essentials, passport, burner phones, and the sapphire brooch she'd pawned twice. Where to? I revved the Corvette's engine. Canada. Then Belize. She clutched my arm, manicure drawing blood. I'll explain everything on the way. One detour first. I swerved toward the lake house, hitting every pothole. Need to grab cash from the safe. Her breath hitched. No time. Trust me. I squeezed her knee, activating the voice recorder in my class ring. The lake house reeked of polyurethane and regret. Sharon paced the unfinished kitchen while I fumbled with the safe. Behind the drywall, the Bluetooth speaker played Linda's arrest live stream. Marty's contact at the precinct owed me favors. Embezzlement, conspiracy, and terrorism financing, the newscaster droned. Sharon froze. Turn that off. I obliged, hefting a dummy cash box. Let's roll. She didn't move. Ray, did you? Cop lights strobed through the windows. Sharon screamed, clawing at the panic room's hidden latch. They found us. I let her disappear into the steel-plated void before tripping the manual lock. Knock twice, our old newlywed signal. Coast clear. Her muffled curse was sweeter than wedding vows. The cops were mine, off-duty buddies from the VFW. They cuffed me theatrically while Sharon's pleas echoed. "Take the Corvette," I muttered, slipping them Linda's Rolex. "Trunk's got Cuban cigars." At the station, I played bewildered husband. Showed them Sharon's texts, Linda's threats, the whole poisoned chalice. Let them discover the GSR on my jacket from the shotgun stunt. Released by dawn, I found Sharon's escape bag in the Corvette's wreckage. Beneath the cash and burner phones, a love letter to Greg. P.S. Burn the lake house. I drove to the storage unit, Linda's scarf flapping from the antenna. Fed the letter into the industrial shredder along with our wedding album. Marty's text buzzed as the sun rose. "Loyalty's dead. Bury the witch?" I set the shredder to puree. Let her dig. The lake house fireplace crackled with the remains of our wedding photos, Sharon's lace veil curling into smoke tendrils that stank of polyester and deceit. She found me there, ankle deep in ash, tossing her Pilates trophies into the flames. "You bastard." Her voice was raw from screaming at Linda's perp walk on CNN. "You planned all of it." I stirred the embers with Grant's fireplace poker. Plans imply uncertainty. Held up the ectopic pregnancy report, edges cinched. This was demolition. She lunged, but her Louboutins skidded on marble I'd paid Greg to install unevenly. "Give that back." "Why?" I dangled it over the flames. "It's fake. Like your orgasms. Like Linda's charity. Like..." I flicked the document into the fire. "Our marriage." Sharon crumpled, hands clawing at the Carrara veins beneath us. "I loved you. You loved the alibi." I pulled the divorce papers from my tool belt, stained with roof sealant and Greg's blood. "Sign these, and I won't press charges for the arsenic in my Metamucil." Her laugh was broken glass. "You can't prove." I tossed her the GSR report from the shotgun. "Ballistics matched your .38. Fired 3 rounds into our garage wall last Tuesday. Tapped the timestamp. Right after you texted Linda cleanup needed." Sharon scrawled her name with the same Mont Blanc that had signed Linda's death warrant. "Happy now?" I pocketed the pen. Ecstatic. She lunged again, but I sidestepped, letting her face plant into the ash pile. "You'll die alone here," she spat, mascara bleeding. I glanced at the security feed on my phone, Marty's crew unloading my belongings from storage. Already did. The U-Haul taillights faded before Sharon's scream stopped. I walked the property line once, pocket watch in hand, and found what Linda had buried, a footlocker of cash, burner phones, and a Glock with Sharon's prints. Left it for the cops. At dawn, I sat on the dock Greg had built, drinking Sharon's hidden cognac. The burner buzzed, a 911 call from her new burner, triangulated to a Motel 6 dumpster. I texted back the coordinates to Linda's jail cell. Let them rot together. The hollow rang louder than victory. The first brick came through the geothermal unit's exterior vent, a Jingjun shot that took out $20,000 in Swiss-engineered HVAC with a chunk of Tennessee limestone. I found Linda ankle-deep in antifreeze and shattered marble, her orange jumpsuit swapped for athleisure where that screamed witness protection chic. She was using my missing fireplace poker to gut the smart wiring from the walls, humming, "Burn, baby, burn off key. You missed a circuit board." I leaned against the doorframe, tossing her the voltage tester she'd left in the boathouse last summer. Third layer behind the nest. She spun, poker raised. The jailhouse tattoos peeking from her collar told the real story. A teardrop for Greg, a crooked cross for the embezzlement charges that didn't stick. "Honey, I'm home," she rasped. I flicked on the emergency lights, revealing her masterpiece. Every Carrara tile smashed in Fibonacci sequence. The safe room's biometric pad melted with thermite, and across the subfloor, spray-painted in Sharon's favorite Chanel red, the coordinates to our storage unit. Nostalgic. I nudged a tile shard with my boot. Could have just sent a postcard. Linda wiped sweat with her sleeve, flashing the ankle monitor she'd decorated with bedazzled skulls. Sharon talked. "DA's got new questions about your heart attack." I unclipped the UV pen light from my keychain. The floor's primer lit up with her real message. Invisible ink equations tallying the cash she'd laundered through Belize. A child's fingerprint smudged the margin. "Cute kid," I said, aiming for casual. "Your granddaughter's what, 7? Her poker clattered. Don't." Sophie, right? Loves manatees. Attends Greenville Elementary. I palmed the USB drive from my pocket. Security footage of Linda buying Elsa backpacks and a Glock 43. Funny place to find a fugitive. She lunged. I sidestepped, letting her face plant into the insulation. Testify against Sharon, I said, and I'll lose the school video. Linda spat fiberglass. Why now? Because the DA needs a villain, not a victim. I crouched, dangling the drive. And you've got a family to lose. Her laugh curdled the antifreeze puddles. You're still that same dumb grunt who believed Sharon's miscarriage tears. I pressed the drive into her palm, folding her fingers until bones creaked. And you're still the bitch who taught her how. We sealed the deal with a handshake. Her left pinky brushed my wrist. 2 taps. Our old signal from the days she'd slip me Xanax to calm Sharon's nerves. At dawn, I found her parting gift. The fireplace poker rammed through the dock's electrical panel, its handle wrapped in Sophie's hair ribbon. The GPS tracker I'd sewn into the silk went dark at the I-40 truck stop. Marty's text buzzed as I reset the circuit breakers. She took the bait. And the $50,000 from your tackle box. I sipped bourbon from Sharon's monogrammed flask, now etched with bullet pockmarks. The ribbon's fibers under my microscope revealed traces of C4 and preschool glitter. Let her play bomber grandma. Collapse was always a family affair. Part 14. Trial by Fire. The courtroom smelled like lemon polish and perjury. Linda took the stand in a blazer 2 sizes too big, her ankle monitor peeking beneath hem slacks. She'd slicked her hair into a widow's peak, playing martyr. The DA lobbed softballs. When did Sharon first mention the embezzlement? And Linda answered like a choir girl, until her eyes locked on mine. But let's be clear, she said, leaning into the mic. This wasn't Sharon's idea. The DA froze mid-sip. Raymond orchestrated everything. The forged deeds, the fake heart attack, even the hitman. Sharon's lawyer shot up. Objection. Witness is. Let her finish. I nodded, fingers steepled. Chaos erupted. Reporters lunged. The judge's gavel cracked like gunfire. Linda smirked, reciting dates and dollar amounts like a profane psalm. April 12th, $250,000 withdrawal. June 7th, falsified insurance docs, each lie tailored to mirror my playbook. Sharon vibrated at the defense table, her chignon unraveling. I waited until the gallery stilled. Your Honor, permission to treat Ms. Harper as hostile? The DA sputtered. You're on trial. Correction. I slid a flash drive to my attorney. The victim is. The recording erupted through tinny speakers, Sharon's 3 a.m. confession, raw and wine-slurred. Linda made me do it. The safe room. The ectopic lie, static punctuated her sobs. Then, crystal clear, I signed the deeds, but Raymond's too stupid to check the notary. The jury leaned in. Sharon's face curdled. Now, I said, play Exhibit B. The screen lit with security footage, Linda at the lake house, crowbar in hand, hissing to Sharon. Once he's dead, we torch the evidence. Date stamped after her arrest. The gallery exploded. Sharon launched across the room, manicured claws aimed at Linda's throat. You filmed us. Marshals tackled her. Linda's smirk died as I approached the stand, tossing her a photo, Sophie's school play, circled in red. Recant, I murmured, or the next video goes viral. She broke. The jury deliberated 19 minutes. Sharon's sentencing echoed through marble halls, 10 to 15 years, parole unlikely. Linda got probation, Sophie's face ensuring her silence. Reporters swarmed. How's it feel to win? I adjusted my tie, stained with Sharon's lipstick from our last embrace. Like watching a house burn. Outside, rain rinsed the steps. I tucked the real flash drive, the one with Linda's C for purchases, into a mailbox. Addressed to Sophie's principal. Vindication, like concrete, takes time to set. The lake house security system beeped 3 a.m. warnings until I ripped the panel off the wall. Too quiet otherwise. No Sharon's passive-aggressive humming. No Linda's toxic perfume lingering in the ductwork. Just the gurgle of the filtration system I'd installed to purge the well water of arsenic, Sharon's parting gift. Reporters circled for weeks. I fed them symbolism, burned the matrimonial bet frame on the dock, mailed Sharon's wedding china to a landfill live on TikTok. Gave one interview to a true crime podcaster who smelled like Adderall and craft beer. How's freedom taste, Mr. Coleman? I gestured to the half-demolished panic room. Like sheetrock, dust, and regret. The clip went viral. Comments called me a Sigma male. Incels quoted me on meme pages. My old union buddies sent a congrats on the divorce card with a Hooters coupon. I found Sharon's final taunt in the septic tank, a Ziploc containing her inmate ID, and a Polaroid of us at Niagara Falls. On the back, her new loopy scroll, "You'll visit." I burned it with the day's mail. Linda's farewell arrived via Sophie. A glitter-stained envelope slipped under the door during my colonoscopy prep. The note inside smelled like bubblegum and diesel fuel. Dear Mr. Ray, Grandma says you're the reason Mommy's in timeout. I left a present in your boat. Love, Sophie. P.S. Your dog is ugly. I don't own a dog. The present was Sharon's cremation tag from the prison morgue, laminated and tied with a Hello Kitty ribbon. Cause of death, acute aspirin overdose. Bullshit. Sharon would have chosen something elegant. I buried the tag under the rose bushes she'd always hated. Drank until the sunset looked like Discovery documents. Woke to the lake lapping at the dock, my boots halfway submerged. Marty's last text blinked on my drowned phone. Lean cleared. Houster's free and clear. I smashed the device with Linda's crowbar. Watched the pieces sink. They say revenge is a circle. Bullshit. It's a sinkhole, dig deep enough, and everything collapses inward. The ash I've become fits neatly in the urn. Part 16. Epilogue. The flames ate Sharon's face last, those doe eyes from our Cancun honeymoon curling into carbon before the rest of her. I fed the fire methodically, one Polaroid at a time, the lake swallowing the smoke. My whiskey glass sweated rings onto the dock's fresh planks. Replaced them myself. No contractors this time. The burner phone vibrated against the ice bucket. Unknown number. You missed a piece. I let it ring 3 times. Let the lake's echo distort the tone. When I finally answered, the line hissed with what might have been waves or white noise. Marriott's got a new rewards program, I said. You should sign up. The call died. Inside, the safe room's false wall creaked under my crowbar. Linda's necklace glinted in the motion sensor lights, the gaudy sapphire choker she'd worn to Sharon's arraignment. Beneath it lay a manila envelope. Inside, Sophie's kindergarten report card, plays well with others, a Glock 19 serialized to me, and a deed for the storage unit I'd burned to ash. But the real message was taped to the gun's grip. A photo of me taken 10 minutes prior, kneeling at the fire pit. Timestamped. P.S. Carrara cracks under heat. Outside, the dock camera's red light blinked once. I raised the necklace to the lens, letting the sapphire catch moonlight, and toasted. Let her see the smile. Let her wonder. The next morning, I welded the safe shut and tossed the key into the deep-water trench where the hitman's boots still sank. The phone stayed silent. But when I gutted the geothermal unit that afternoon, I found her final joke. Sophie's Elsa sticker plastered over the coolant valve. Let it go. I didn't. Rebuilt the system with steel pipes. Slept with the crowbar. The flames keep eating. So do I.